Just a second, figuring out.
Usman, can
Uh,
you just minimize that control screen?
sure.
Thank you.
So I'm at present review. My slide decks are visible, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, great. So uh, Bismillah Rahman Rahim. I'm Usman Sheikh, and thank you for having me here. And I just formally want to congratulate you for arranging such a marvelous event. I was hearing the other speakers, so it's been a tremendous event past year and this year as well. So I'm going to present AI enrichment with Azure Cognitive Search. Before that, I've just formal introduction. I just switched a company. I'm a practice lead now and a consultant at Paper VM, also Microsoft MVP, C# Corner MVP, and a Microsoft certified trainer. You can catch me at Facebook at Technical Evangelist. Technical.evangelist, and here is my email address as well. If you have any query after the session, you can just drop me an email, or I'll be happy to cater your questions. So today's agenda for my session would be like what is cognitive search, and then how we can enable AI enrichment, and then there is a short demo. Like I'll be starting from very scratch, and I'll be sharing how easy it is to set up this feature in your in applications. So at the end, I'll be sharing some resources. I'll be sharing the slide decks with the team, so the attendees can have it afterwards. So, before we begin using the cognitive search, I just want to highlight the problem statement first. So the organization has mostly a lot of documents, and there are multiple slides for regarding some sort of projects, and there are tons of data stored as the company grow or as the like organization, not just the company, for let's say an institute, or there are multiple examples over here that there are so many documents and so many data sets that we want to like filter down, we want to search, and there are some sort of images that contains formal data, and sort of we can say they contains valuable information, but we are stuck at a point that we need manual integration, and we want to like skim the data, and we want to like serve more time. Rather than that, we can like sort of enable it, like we can say we can automate the whole process, and we can maintain the information like sort of we can say in a way that it can be retrieved in a more effective manner. So here comes Microsoft Cognitive Service, which helps us in retrieving that sort of information, not just search. So first there is a cognitive search, then we can enable that AI enrichment. So just formally like we introduced the search as service part. So there are alternatives, open source alternatives, but Microsoft Cognitive Search as Service is like turnkey feature or a turnkey service that you don't have to like set up, and it's management free. It's totally PaaS, and you don't have to spend much time to like enable it. Like you don't have to write custom code to just ingest the data. It's already there. It's a click based or a visual based service. Then after the management part is offloaded, you have keyword search or typical Lucene searches available. You can do all sort of stuff that is being offered by alternatives: keyword search, physics language analyzer, geospatial spatial suggestions. We have autocomplete, we have proximity search, and you can use synonyms. So it's not just like key value pair searching. It's like AI enabled. It's just sort of intelligent search. So it was already available. Then they introduced on top of it, like they boosted this with the AI enrichment. You are not limited to just text-based search. You can extract the information from images, from the blobs, or you can use any unstructured data. So to capture the information, you are not limited to just text. Okay. Then after that information is extracted, you can store it for like later on you want to build a sort of a dashboard or a report, then like all the information is gathered. You don't have to like ingest the data over and over again. Once it's been extracted, you can reuse it in as many application as you want. It can be indexed, it can be stored into knowledge store. So I'll be demoing that very quickly after the session, after these slides. So the purpose of this enrichment is to enable the cognitive skills and to ingest, or you can say you can integrate the AI enrichment part in the whole pipeline, in the indexing pipeline. So at a high level structure, what we do is for any text-based search or any search as a service, we ingest the data, and then comes the part we can enrich it with cognitive skills, and then you can start exploring your like searching or using it into any other application. So we can like have a typical REST-based service, or you can use SDK to enrich your, or you can say to equip your applications. So we were talking about the high level. So I'll be explaining the steps. So it's sort of a high level diagram where the data is being stored in some sort of like you can use Azure platform to store your data. For this demo, I'll be using Azure storage account to store my data. And there are also samples available. So I'll be using a samples, like sort of we have a very limited time. So we just want to cater the, like we want to like effectively utilize the data. So effectively utilize the time. So we have sample data. I'll be using that, but you are not limited to using the samples or Microsoft storage account. You can use your custom data as well. After that, the documents that contains the images or other sort of like PDF files or any documents. I'll be sharing like the number of files or the formats available. But after that, that documents is being ingested, you can add that skills in the same pipeline, and then the automation is performed. All the metadata is extracted, and then you can explore using this search explorer, or you can go for SDK, or you can use the REST APIs for that as well. So steps over here, I'll be like starting with the first step would be connecting and document cracking phase, in which the ingestion part is involved. At the beginning, we have a pipeline established already. Like you don't have to, since I already mentioned, it's a PaaS platform, so you don't have to set up or there's no management involved. It's already built in pipeline. You just have to provide the data set. So after the data set is connected, you can like it starts scanning the images, it starts scanning the documents you have added. All sort of unstructured data is being can be extracted and can be utilized for this sort of search. Then comes a part that it's cracking. So by cracking means it's scanning whole document. So again, typical OCRs are like OCR feature is available. You can utilize that. It can skim the whole document. It can pick up the keys, like key value pairs, and store it into Azure table for later on for reporting purposes. So the file formats, yeah, like you can use for PDF, you can use as a PDF, you can use XML, PNG, doc, PPT, XLS. So you're not limited to like sort of a text or JSON format. So JSON and can be easily extracted as well. So there are multiple data sources in which you can like store your data: blob storage, Azure SQL, Cosmos DB, Azure Tables, MySQL, and Azure Files. So you just have to connect that, and whole process is sort of an automated part. You don't have to write custom code. So it's step number 2. The data is like the storage is already connected. Now it's part where comes the part where the cognitive skills and the what cognitive skills, by the way, I'm enforcing on, like I'm mentioning that there are 2 particularly services, image analysis and the language. That is being performed. Like for images, we can like detect sort of images it has, and for languages, let's say you want to like you have other than English, or you want to know what sort of background this particular sentence has, or what's it's related to. Like I already mentioned, it's not just a key value, typical key value based search. You can use synonyms as well. So it builds the whole context in the background. So in the pipeline, after all this skills are performed, it can stored into a skill set, and that skill set can be reused. Like we will be like there are built-in skill set, and you can reuse your custom trained skill sets or like models. So there are built-in skills like key phrase extraction, location entity extraction, sentiment analysis. That particularly what I was before in the previous slide I was enforcing on. Like it ingests the whole sentence and it analyzes what its user. It's either it's sort of using the foul language, or it's sort of a what is the sentiment behind that particular phrase. So so you can utilize it. There are multiple use cases in which you can utilize this sort of these sort of features. So it has face detection. Let's say celebrity integration recognition is there, image tag extraction is there, text utilities, landmark detection, and so on and so forth. So apart from the built-in skills, we have you can develop custom skills, and you can store that in Databricks. You can develop using Azure Machine Learning, and you can use any other any other platform you want to ingest, or you want to build your custom solution. So you're not just limited to like Microsoft sort of set of features. So there is a sort of a pictorial diagram of what I was telling you about. Like text and images are image analysis are basically the cognitive skills that will be like performed on your data set. OCR is there, and the text analysis, which I mentioned, like you can detect the text utilities, you can detect what sort of a sentiment is there. So it merges that, and then you can use that for further exploring. Step number 3, in which you can extract the information. You can utilize that particular extracted information for later use. So Microsoft has a very cool Query Explorer built in the platform, which I'll be doing very shortly. So in which you can like build your own query, and you can utilize that in your application as well. So if you want to like try very quickly, or you can develop, you don't have to spend much time, then Azure platform is very like suitable for you. That there are all there they understand your need, they understand the business, so they have already established all the tools and set of like features that aids you to developing your application very quickly. So as I said earlier, it's a turnkey solution, so you don't have to spend much time in developing that. So let me move forward for the demo. And we'll talk about like other stuff during I'll be setting up the demo. So let me switch back to my browser. Okay, so I'm at my Azure portal. I'll be setting up a resource group and 3 services which will be used for this particular demo. So I'm at Azure Portal. Just quickly, like we have, I have already a subscription set up. But if you are new to Microsoft Azure, there is a free trial available. You just have to bring your like you can say credit card or Visa or debit card. They do not charge anything. They just perform a penny test, and after that you will be awarded with $200 of credit for 12 months. So you can like practice all sort of like demo you want without paying a dime. But again, after that trial period is over, you won't be charged. So the subscription will be disabled. And I'm not like I don't want to brag about this, but there are other platforms that they after the trial is over, those who are new to this platform, they always sort of like even like it's a human nature. Like what we say, we don't go for particular documentation part. We don't since we are like always short of time, and we don't spend much time in going into details. But there are some catches involved in the documentation. So you don't just click away like I accept that and I accept that and just click without clicking and without reading whole the information and just clicking on the save button. Do read that. So in my experience, I was using a platform in which after the trial period is over, I created a virtual machine, and it cost me a lot. So I got a notification from a bank account like, oh, okay, this is too much. So you are spending 200 or $300, and so is this transaction legal? So luckily I set up a transaction limit. So they blocked the account, and then I contacted the support. So they just reverted all the transaction. But again, it can happen with you. But luckily, or like we can say, fortunately, you don't have to face such sort of problem in Microsoft Azure platform. It only disables, and then you can enable it to pay as you go. And then the POC would be like for production use. Again, these $200 can be used for production, but again, if you have a solution and you want to like go live with it, so you have to go for pay as you go platform. Or if you contact you can say a cloud service provider, they will give you a sort of a enterprise agreement in which you will get some sort of discounts. So okay, so let's begin with creating the services. So there are two views. If you probably log into and you don't get this sort of a view, don't get confused. We have two views: dashboard view and home view. So either you can go for this plus create resource or this. So I'm creating a storage account first. So I'll be using storage account for storing my data set, or you can say storing the retrieval part of it, like storing the information what is being extracted afterwards for the later use. So I'm creating a new resource group. Let's say DEVCON5. And I'll be using, oh, I guess, West Europe. Okay. So standard and general purpose, I don't want the replication right now since it's just a demo and POC, so locally redundant. Next, and hit create. Okay. So in the meanwhile, it's getting created. Let's create two more services. Um, so the first one would be the search service. Okay, cognitive search. Let me write cognitive search. Okay, so I have to create cognitive service as well. So like, let me create cognitive service first, then I'll create the cognitive search. So irrespective that there aren't any like sort of particularly dependencies, they are independent services. Let me stick to West Europe, and name of service DEVCON Cog service. I confirm. Okay, the second service is in progress. So let me create the last but not the least service, cognitive search. Okay, Azure Cognitive Search. So it's a fully managed service, autocomplete. There's tons of sort of features which I'll be demoing. So let's create that. And let me name DEVCON5. West Europe. So the tier, there is a free tier available, but you can use once per subscription. So since I already utilize that, so I'll be going for the basic one. So select next, next. Okay, great. So validation is progress. So if in any sort of a way you mentioned anything particularly you weren't supposed to do, you will be getting an error, and you can mitigate after what error said. And there is sort of a like steps they can help you aid you. So the service is in progress. It's already created. Great. So let's just import the data. So we'll be using the sample data. Like we have a short time, but like this is a turnkey solution. We don't have to spend much time for this demo. So sample, we have two samples available. One for Cosmos DB, and the dataset is available in Cosmos DB and Azure SQL. So I'll be using this real state sample. So here comes the part we can enable the cognitive skills. So I have this service available, co cognitive services set available service. So I'll be using that. And for the enrichment part, so remember I told you earlier we can enable text based AI and images. So since we don't have any images available, it would have been popped up over here, and we can sort of like face detection and other stuff. But since it's all text, so we have these sort of capabilities available. And then if you want to store that, you can use later on. It will store in the knowledge store. So let's skip that and let's go for the target, creating target index. Okay, so I'll stick to the default settings quickly. If you want to search, you need to click the retrievable and search. If you want to filter them, you have to check any sort of information you want, and again sort and filterable. So it depends on you and the solution or the like use case which you are catering. So let me create the index. Since it's the sample data, if again the data keeps on updating, so you can set up the scheduler hourly, daily, or custom. So it will keep the data up to date later on. So since it's a Microsoft like maintained sample, so it will keep the data set up to date. So okay. So I'll be needing like 2 or 3 more minutes just to demo the Query Explorer. I already have few queries written down, so I'll be just copying, pasting, and quickly wrapping up. So I know I consume my slot, like just not to consume the other ones, the speaker slot. Just 2 more minutes, I believe. Okay, great. It's being set up. You have the notification after this is imported. Like we can see we have the index set up, so we can go for Query Explorer. So here is the Query Search Explorer. You can test these queries, or you can here you can see you have this URL available. You can use that in your application. So let me just like quickly go through few queries. So if you type *, it will like filter all the like it's a wildcard. It will pop up all the data. I believe the data is still being ingested. So let me go to, since we have short of time, so I have already set up a demo. So let me just utilize that for this purpose. I believe it's there. Great. So Search Explorer, the whole steps are same, which I did. So it will give you the whole data set. You can perform your queries. So I have already few indexes already set up. You can like perform simple text search. 2. Okay.